it's been more than a year ago since Tatay Kidlat Tahimik and I last had an online conversation about USB, the Unsung Sariling Bayani. It sounded like an adventurous crusade that he wants to take up with us to champion the theme of homegrown heroism through film. Not just your average superhero or even the nationally celebrated heroes of the history books, but unsung. Someone we don't talk about often enough, and sariling, meaning our very own. He would like for the young people to discover about heroes who are people like them, who lived where they live, but who have done great things for the sake of others and made the world a better place. I was also fortunate enough to have spent time with him, to have had spent time with him in Baguio during the Montañosa Film Festival. And I saw, his aspiration to reach to the young, to inculcate the importance of giving reverence to our local heroes, to look into our own backyard, and hindi yung mga nakikita natin lagi sa TV, sa sinihan, the Avengers, the Marvel. Nakakalimutan na natin. It's so big, it's so global now that we forget to look that we also have our own version of heroes sa mga sarili nating komunidad. But what's most beautiful about it is because, of course, as our national artist for film, he wants to use film as the medium. And now that film is becoming not just appreciated in the brick and mortar venues that we are also familiar with, pero with all of this digital streaming platforms, with all of these online platforms, in order for us to just consume film and content in different ways, ito po yung ginawa nating device para maengganyo ang ating mga estudyante, ang ating mga kabataan, para bigyang importansya ang ating mga sariling bayani. So we're now making a debut on a most significant and victorious moment in our people's history. Tatay Kidlat will now unveil his newest masterpiece, USB. Tatay, thank you for trusting us with this crusade. We also have the gracious support of the National Quincentennial Commission and of course, napaka-importanting partner natin, the Department of Education, to make this happen for our youth and all Filipinos who look up to heroes for inspiration and courage. And now for the details of the Unsung Sariling Bayani short film competition. Here is a presentation to fill you in on what you need to know to join and participate in Tatay Kidlat's USB.
Since almost 20 years na, yung bamboo camera ko has been a symbol of local storytelling. But the bamboo camera is also about the inside natin, yung kind of story that we like to tell. Yung mga stories about our own bayani, or our own culture, or yung sa ating mga values. And sana sa mga kabataan, you look at the bamboo camera, and you see it, and especially those who will receive a bamboo camera award from this at the end of this activity, believe it. Maniwala tayo na, wow, ang galing ng ating mga sariling kwento. No? Before ako naging national artist for film, bago pa ako naging filmmaker, matagal na yung advocacy ko na we need more local stories. No? Bringing it back in this year is a good catalyzer. Why not also use it as a good chance to tell stories based on the theme of heroism? I think by looking into our local neighborhood, meron mga maliliit na kwento na pwede natin palakihin yung relevance sa audience kasi nakafocus tayo sa Filipino values which prompted these people to do that heroic deed that they did. So yung unsung and yung sariling bayani, I think those are the two words. Hindi pa kilala masyado at yung sarili ating within our area will be the criteria for telling stories about them. Storytelling of unsung and sariling atin mga bayani. It's nice to know also yung mga nangyayari sa labas, yan sa Manila, sa abroad. there are many good movies made about the valor or yung katapangan, kadakilaan, good heart, yung magandang kalooban, which is another Filipino value. Balik tayo sa simple storytelling. I think we are all, even at high school age, we're all intelligent enough to see a positive value of somebody elder or a chosen hero who can really bring out the best in us. And I think it's time that we balance that with locally researched stories. No? And I think that's why the FDCP is also there. No? Let's also try to balance what the outside commercial forces will produce. And I think this is where FDCP can take advantage of this consciousness about 500 years ng kadakilaan ni Lapu-Lapu to now focus on our local heroism. At sana this will become a long-term project so that at least the young people will learn building blocks nila sa mga storytelling na ay galing sa sarili ating kaligiran and kabatay sa kalooban ng Pilipino. Itong April 27, 2021 ay malaking pangyayari ang maalala natin and I think it's a good occasion na tayo mga storytellers, balikan natin yung kadakilaan ng ating mga bayani, mga sariling bayani at next few months, sana gumawa tayo ng mga kwento tungkol sa mga hindi kilala, mga hindi pa nadidiscover, mga hindi pa binibigyan ng monumento, mga bayani na galing sa mga sulok ng ating mga barangay o sulok ng ating probinsya. Sa dami ng mga bagong kwento, I think yayaman ng kasaysayan ng Pilipinas. And you, the small filmmaker, we, the small filmmakers, can contribute to the archives of our relevant local history. Kaya pull out your bamboo cameras. Ayan, labas na niyo yung bamboo camera niyo at gumawa tayo ng kwento tungkol sa USB natin, ang mga unsung sariling bayani. Ready? Camera! Action!
Wonderful.
Salamat po tayo at salamat Chair for introducing that video. Mapalad po tayo ngayon at kasama po natin ang dalawang napakahalagang mga panauhin po sa launch natin ito sa USP o sa Unsung Sariling Bayani. Ang una muna pong pakikilala ko ay ang Honorable Chairman of the National Historical Commission of the Philippines at Chairman din po ng National Quincentennial Commission. Educator at scholar, mga kaibigan, please welcome Dr. Rene Escalante. Doc.
Magandang mula po dito sa Lapu-Lapu City, isang mainit na pagbati sa ating mga nanonood at na rin sa mga kasama natin sa Zoom meeting na ito. Isa lang pong pagwawasto, hindi po ako ang chairman ng National Quincentennial Committee, ako po ang executive director. Ang chairman po natin dito ay si Executive Secretary Salvador Midaldea. Isa pong napakagandang adikain itong proyektong ito ng FDCP at aking binabati at congratulate si Chairman Liza dahil sa nakasama ko na siya 2 taon na ang nakalipas sa unang film competition na ilinunsad namin at napakamatagumpay nito. At napapanahon din po itong mga ganitong programa dahil sa kailangan talaga siguro nating palawakin ang ating listahan ng mga bayani at pansamantala nating itutok naman ang kamera hindi lamang doon sa mga bayani na nasa pera, may mga monumento na at ito ay kinikilala na ng buong sambayan ng Pilipino. Maganda rin na tingnan natin itong mga bayani natin na hanggang sa ngayon ay hindi pa natatanggap ang rekognisyon na nararapat sa kanila. Maging sa disiplina ng kasaysayan, meron din kami tinatawag na history from the margin or history from the periphery. At ang maganda rin dito ay base nga sa nabanggit kanina ng ating pambansang alagad ng sining, si Kidlat Tahimik, na sa pagtuunan naman natin ng pansin ng ating mga sariling bayani. Napapanahon din itong mga ganitong proyekto dahil tayo ngayon ay nasa gitna ng pandemya. Karamihan sa atin ay malungkot, takot na takot at naghahanap tayo ng inspirasyon na magbibigay ng lakas ng loob sa atin upang malabanan ito na Paisala ng Historical Commission, pati na rin po ang National Quincentennial Committee ay buong pusong susuporta sa adhikaang ito ng FDCP. At panghuli, kasama rin natin dito si Yusek Alain Pasqua. So maganda rin na makatuwang natin dito ang DepEd. Kasi sa ngayon, karamihan po ng estudyante ay walang personal contact sa kanilang mga guro at karamihan sa kanila nag-aaral online. So marami po sa kanila ang nangangailangan ng mga materyales na gagamitin sa kanilang pagtuturo online. Kaya kung meron po tayong mga proyektong ganito, pwede natin itong i-share sa DepEd nang sa ganun magamit nila ito. Ito rin paggunita natin ng Quincentennial, ang unang pag-ikot ng tao sa buong mundo. Naglabas din po kami ng ilang mga video documentaries at sabuatan po kami at nakikipag-kooperasyon sa DepEd para po itong aming mga proyekto ay magamit ng ating mga guro at mapakinabangan ng ating mga mag-aaral. Muli, sa ngalan po ng National Quincentennial Committee at sa National Historical Commission, isang mainit na pagbati sa FDCP. Salamat po ng marami.
Maraming salamat po,
Chair.
Chair Rene Escalante of the National Historical Commission at Executive Director po ng National Quincentennial Commission. Paumanhin po sa aming maliit na error na yon. Ngayon, pangalawa naman pong papakilala namin, very special guest natin ngayong hapon, batikang filmmaker at tagahabi ng mga kwentong sariling atin. Ang pinagpipitaghanan nating National Artist for Film and Broadcast, walang iba po kundi si Kidlat Tahimik. Kuya?
Magandang hapon po sa inyo lahat. Sayang, I would like to be dyan sa Cebu City with Mr. Escalante. Importante nitong araw na ito. Actually, just before, siguro mga February, Mr. Escalante, kasi galing ako sa regional cinema sa Naga City and sinabi sa akin nila Teddy Ko at ni Roland Tolentino, why don't you go and do your idea about this yung USB, maybe with the Centennial Commission. Pero okay, soon after that was yung COVID, so luckily COVID did not prevent us from na-broach ko yung idea kay Chair Liza, and two weeks ago, somehow, yung Montañosa Film Festival na finalize natin. Okay, itong 2021, napaka-importanting taon because we are celebrating 500 years of yung unang victory sa Mactan. But I thought it was a good chance na ipalabas natin rin ng oportunidad para sa mga kabataan, lalo pa mga senior high school, since kasama yan sa SPA nila, no? Kasama sa mga subjects nila, creative subjects in senior high school, to involve them in this. Kasi while you're in high school, you have the luxury of still playing around with things that can be relevant to you. You're not pushed by commercial forces to do a living and therefore make a film about this or that subject. Kaya naisip ko, I think habang itong mga high school students can still and are curious, they're also curious, no? And hindi pa sila kinakahon ng commercial world, that they might pwede silang humanap sa kanilang mga sulok ng mga significant people. And I think let them define to a certain extent bakit naging bayani sila para sa filmmaker na yun. So I think, and then yung other advocacy ko was because, wow, I think sa mga kwento nila Spider-Man, nila Wonder Woman, nila Superman, Captain America, at they probably even know the birthday of Spider-Man or the name of the mother of Captain America. Pero yung mga tungkol sa mga bayani natin, they have probably lost an interest kasi mas spectacular yung mga pinapalabas ng Hollywood. So let's change our lenses. Palitan natin ang lenses natin and let's look inwardly sa mga narito sa ating paligiran. That is the main idea of this contest, and I hope talagang at yung long run, yung magkaroon na ng curiosity ang mga kabataan. Kasi kung yung echo chamber, the echo chamber that we are in now is always just the spectacular heroes na may mga laser guns at pwedeng lumipad, all these kinds of it's hard to identify with them. Whereas if you have, gaya nga nung isang interview ni Ambet Ocampo na kwento niya na siguro yung ngipin ni Jose Rizal medyo sungki-sungki and he needed braces. And I think, as he said, it's easier for us to identify with a hero na sungki-sungki ang ngipin than one of these super Western-looking like heroes that are flashed on our faces every day. So, the two-pronged dito. One is to magkaroon ng konting preno in terms of our absorption of superheroes. But at the same time, magkalkal tayo sa ating mga paligiran to find somebody who has meaning. At alam mo, ang mga kabataan, ang magagaling mo yan, they will find stories to do it. So, salamat sa FDCP for taking me on board, and let's do it today. Ang 500th anniversary ng pagkadakila ni Lapu-Lapu at yung asawa niya si Bulakna. She was part of that fight, I'm sure, just that na-ignore ng mga Western. And let's see, I think by the end of this year we should have more interesting kasaysayan na talagang lalabas dito. Mabuhay ang USB. Mga USB natin, mabuhay. Sugod, mga kapatid.
Salamat Kuya Kidlat. Tatawagin po natin muli for a short discussion na po si Chair Liza Dino Segura of FDCP and Chair Rene Escalante of the National Historical Commission for a short banter. Meron po akong parang warm-up na po ito do sa question and answer portion natin later, no? Meron po kami katanungan. Ano po ang feeling ninyo na ma-achieve, ma-achieve po natin, ma-accomplish natin with the Unsung Sariling Bayani short film competition? So, pwede ko bang tanungin mo na si Chair?
Siguro ang una, pagkakataon siguro ito ng ating mga emerging filmmakers na mabigyan sila ng venue at patunayan ng kanilang kakayahan. Kasi malamang itong patimpalak niyong ito ay nakasentro ito hindi doon sa mga professional filmmakers, kung hindi itong mga bagito at mga estudyante na gustong makagawa rin ng pangalan dito sa larangang ito. Pangalawa, yung binabanggit kanina ng ating pambansang alagad ng sining na matuon naman ang atensyon ng ating mga kababayan, di lamang sa mga kilalang personalidad sa pandaigdigang larangan, kung hindi pati na rin dito sa sarili nating bayan. Siguro dagdag pa dito, kung titingnan kasi natin, yung karamihan ng ating mga kilalang bayani ay mga kalalakihan. So siguro maganda rin na balikan natin ang ating kasaysayan at tingnan na naman ang mga kababaihan na nagkaroon din ng ambag sa ating pagiging isang bansa. At panghuli, karamihan din sa ating mga bayani ay nanggaling sa Katagalugan o kaya naman dito sa mga probinsyang malapit sa napapanahon na rin na silipin din natin yung ambag ng mga nasa Katimugan o nasa Hilaga, kung saan nanggaling ating pambansang alagad ng sine. Nang sa ganun, yung distribusyon ng ating mga bayani ay may balanse natin. So siguro itong 3 puntong ito, magandang punto itong pagtuunan ng mga sasali sa patimpalak na ito. Salamat po.
Salamat, Chair Escalante. Chair Liza, alam kong nung binanggit ni Kuya Kidlat Tahimik, yung si Lapu-Lapu at Bulakna, alam kong merong special connection ka kay Bulakna. Pwede nyo bang explain kung bakit?
Well, because I played Bulakna in Mactan 1521. It's a play by Philippine stagers, directed by Vince Tanyada. So siya yung sumulat noon. I mean, it was back in 2003, I think, when I played the role of Bulakna. So, nung first time na nag-usap kami ni Tatay Kidlat about this, nasabi ko sa kanya yung trivia niya yun. Nakilala ko si Bulakna kasi I played her role during that time. So parang she's really the strength behind Lapu-Lapu. So that's the whole story about my affiliation as Bulakna. But I'd like to answer your question, Dave, about why is it important also to really do this festival. So of course, napakaganda ng mga sagot ni Chair, and on the side of the FDCP naman, the using short films as a format and as a tool to really to share these stories, napaka-accessible nito sa mga kabataan ngayon. Yesterday we had the Oscars and Chloe Zhao won as best director for a film that she made. And you know how she started? She started as a short filmmaker. So napakagandang panimula ito at encouragement sa mga filmmakers natin na by embracing the format of short films, that they can actually tell important stories na hindi nila kailangang gumasta ng malalaking halaga. You know, we want to make also the art of filmmaking very accessible to them. And through this festival and through this competition, ma-champion natin yung importansya nito. With the partnership of FDCP, of course, our goal is to enrich. Our goal is to add value to the already noble cause of the short film competition. So we'll be bringing in educational component like having basic film workshops for aspiring filmmakers na gustong sumali. And ako, ang sobrang excited ako na mamaya ipe-present namin, it's the Storming with Kidlat session that we're going to have. So the Storming with Kidlat for me is would actually put so much context. At doon mismo nila, you know, maririnig galing kay tatay, di ba? Galing sa isang national artist, kung bakit ba tayo gumagawa ng pelikula. Ano ang dapat na pinagmumula ng mga storyang kinakwento natin. And it's also an opportunity for them to think, like, what is their role as filmmakers? Ano yung voice? Anong gusto nilang ikwento tungkol sa Pilipinas? Kasi ngayon, di ba, ang dami-dami na nating nakikitang kwento about the Philippines. And sometimes it's really sad because you know, the not so beautiful stories about the Philippines are the ones that's given more merit siguro kasi mas controversial and all. But there are so many beautiful things about our country. There's so many stories about our local heroes that are not being told. And ang napakagandang inisyatibo ito para balikan ulit at i-inspire natin ang ating mga kabataan para bigyang importansya mga ganitong kwento.